what is happiness? The quest for happiness. We all have our own ideas on what happiness may mean to us, but I think everyone will agree that it's wonderful and it's something that we all want to feel or experience in this life. The more of it, the merrier. Happiness is an experience, but also it's a feeling which has the power to motivate us to get up and get into our life. Because as we move forward in our day, it allows us to be expectant of good things. We start with a happy attitude, and it's like the universe says, oh yeah, okay, that's for real, okay, I'm gonna do it. And we have that additional help. It's a feeling which may incorporate peace of mind, joy, physical well-being. It could include prosperity, success. It could mean that we have meaning and purpose, that we are feeling harmonious and have loving, supportive relationships, among other things. It can also mean that we have challenges, but we accept those challenges because we know once we move through them, there is growth for us. And many things that come into our lives come to bring that experience. I always loved what Richard Bach wrote in the book Illusions about problems. He said, no problem comes to us without a gift in its hand. And so when we are feeling happy, we're able to see those gifts easier. They're always there, okay? Because God, as good, is always there, but we're able to see those blessings better. In our Declaration of Independence, happiness is linked with life, and it's also linked with liberty. And in the Declaration, it also says that we have the right to pursue happiness. I like the idea or the definition that happiness is whatever makes our hearts sing. And someone else would say, well, it's whatever floats your boat. But our declaration expresses these words: we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And right there, I think, is where things kind of go askew. Because life and liberty seem to be a given. But why does it say that we need to pursue happiness? Now, to pursue means to run after, to chase down. And I don't know, I just conjured this idea of this big football player running after, tackling happiness, okay? Throws him on the ground and jumps on him, okay? That's what I think when I say we got to pursue happiness. You may have a different image of that, but that's what's working for me now. I know what's happening in the world of football is big time right now. But here's the thing here. If we watch little children play in their natural state, they don't have to run down happiness. They don't have to pursue it and jump on it and grab it. It comes to them while they are at laughter and at play. Well, I think that happiness comes to us also, to us adults, when we laugh and when we play. But unfortunately, as we mature, we seem to get a lot more serious about life, and we do less laughing and less playing. But it doesn't have to be this way. Happiness means we can reopen that door. And when we are not, when we're not in tune with ourselves, we more often feel this lack of happiness. In my mind, we cannot really have a lack of happiness because, in my mind, God is the source of happiness. Okay? I remember reading something that said, well, the search for happiness is the search for God, even though you don't know it. Because we understand that God is the source of all good. And whatever makes our hearts sing has its source in God. I'd like to share with you 11 ideas for reclaiming our happiness. And this is shared by Ellie Sommer, Sommer, who writes an excellent blog called Live Purposely Now. And I do have some information here on slides. Number one, Ellie writes, free yourself. Now, you may not have thought that you were in bondage, but there are a myriad ways that life imprisons us, and we don't even know it. Life and people, she wrote, are always changing, and the more that we try to control them, because sometimes change is scary. You know, we don't know what the result will be after this change or what this change means. So sometimes we try to hold on things and try to keep them and people and experiences just where they are so that we can feel safe and secure. But if we want to have peace and harmony in our life, we have to set ourselves free. Stop allowing the people and experiences in our life to control our feelings. Number two, Ellie suggests let go of regrets. What we've learned, she said, is much more important than the mistakes or the poor choices that we've made. We all have another chance to do it better. I love those spiritual do-overs, okay? They come when you need them, okay? We all have the chance to do it better and to learn from the choices and the experiences of yesterday and apply those to our growth opportunity today. We have tomorrow. Leave regrets behind, she says. Learn from them and then laugh at the things you got wrong. 3, take ownership. Now, it's often very easy to blame others for our misfortune, our bad luck. But to be happy, we have to take ownership for our own life. Life continually reflects back to us our thoughts, what our thoughts are, how we deal and how we respond to relationships, our jobs, and what we feel are our abilities. No blame, no shame, simply ownership of our part in our own life. I like that line. That's a wonderful denial. I have no blame, no shame. Simply ownership of my part in my own life. And number 4, make way. That is, make way for the new. Let go of the past. And there have been times in my life, and I'm sure in your lives also, when we've let our opinions and our beliefs about things get in the way of living dynamic lives right now. I have a wonderful friend in Salina. She's a senior citizen. Well, she's more senior than me, okay? Let me put it that way, okay? She's 92, and she's a youthful 92. She still drives, okay? And if she could, she would still be square dancing right now, okay? Anyway, I took her to Maori Clinic on Thursday. They wanted to run some tests because she wasn't feeling well. And while she was there, she wanted to get a flu shot. So she came out and she went over to the other desk and inquired about the flu shot. And they said, "We're sorry, we're all out." And my friend was taken aback. She said, "Well, the doctor said I could get the shot today." And she said, "Well, we did have some, but now they're gone." And she seemed a bit distressed about it. And they said, "Well, come back next Tuesday and we may have some." And it was uncertain, okay? And when she came back to me, I observed, and when she came back to where I was sitting, I said, "You don't have to wait until next week. I've got my cell phone, let me check around and see if some other place has, what is it, that advanced or the strong version for the elderly, which I get." Okay. If someone has it, and bingo, Walgreens said, "Well, we've got only 4 left, so you need to come right away." And I said, "Laverna, well, I can take you to get." She said, "But I always get it here at this clinic." I said, "Laverna, they don't have it. And when you come back next Tuesday expecting it, they may be out again. Walgreens has 4, okay? We can shoot up there and get one of those 4. And she said, "Okay." All right. So I took her, and she got her flu shot. Later, after she'd gotten home, she called me up and she said, "Thank you." I said, "For what?" Well, she said, "Well, not only for taking me, but for reminding me. I don't always have to do what I've done before. I can let things go. Just because I've always gotten my flu shot at Maori Clinic didn't mean that I had to get it and wait in order to get it there again. So that was wonderful. I had forgotten all about it, and she called me to share that, and I said, how true. I'm thinking that we get stuck in things. We have to make way for the new by letting go of the old. Because when we don't, that's how we get stuck. That's how we stop dreaming and doing. Let the past stay there. Past. Get back into the flow now with joyful thinking, knowing that everything that lies ahead holds present joys, present gifts. Number 5, release judgment. Allow others to respond to life in the way that they choose to. Give them a space to be who they are, and give yourself the same gift. Appreciate that life is a privilege, and when you come across someone or others who do things totally different from the way that you do things, they have a different perspective than you. Don't make them out to be wrong. Don't criticize. Empathize with their perspective, because they may be going through a lot of things, but definitely they're learning and growing as we ourselves are. 6, do the right thing. That is, do the right thing even when nobody's looking. Okay? Even if no one else does the right thing, you do that, because to be happy, we have to choose to live an authentic life and an ethical life in tune with what we really believe. Otherwise, there's this conflict inside, this internal disagreement going on. If we choose to live ethically, a rich, fulfilling life comes less from saying the right thing and more from doing the right thing in life. And if we don't change the world, well, at least we haven't let the world change us in a negative, limiting way. Number 7, become unstoppable. It's easy to kind of sit back and say, well, you know, life isn't too bad, okay? We just kind of let life slip through our fingers, okay? Generally, it's pretty easy to waste our time, okay? And before too long, we've managed to convince ourselves that this is the very best we can do. This is the very best that we are. Not true, Ellie says. Today, she says, be fierce, be strong. Don't let second guesses or doubt dampen your enthusiasm or your passion for life. Number 8, step out of your regular lifestyle. Eventually, that comfort zone, that complacency that we all experience leads us to unhappiness and boredom and frustration. Deep down inside, you know that you were put on this earth with amazing capabilities. It's these times that when we are way outside of our element that we discover these parts of ourselves that we never knew were there. An amazing life exists one step out of our comfort zone. Take it, and you'll find that you're not an ordinary person after all. You are an extraordinary person designed to be awesome. Number 9, let kindness be your guiding light. The choices that we make us. I thought, boy, that's a creative way to think of that. The choices that we make us. It's another version of Unity's law of mind action. The thoughts that we hold on will produce of their kind, take shape and form in some way in our experience. Enjoy life, she says, travel, read great books, write, seek fame, become your greatest self, make a fortune. And throughout all of this, she said, it's important to support other people. Be the one, she says, who is remembered for your acts of kindness. And should you need an incentive to be kind, studies show that those who do acts of kindness are healthier because it activates our immune system. So, best of all, when you let kindness be our guiding light, we get in touch with who we are. Number 10, stop the pity parties. Never ask the question, why me? Why did this happen to me? Because she says it simply creates and reinforces a kind of victim state of mind. And it reduces our power to make choices because we're kind of stuck. Why? Okay? Even Jesus spoke to his disciples about the idea of letting that go. When they were out walking and they came upon a blind man, his disciples wanted to know. And so they said, Jesus, why was this man born blind? Did he do something? Or did his parents do something that he was born blind? And Jesus simply said, and basically he was saying, that's not the point. He said, he's blind that the glory of God can be manifest in him. Now, some traditional Christian faiths would say that man was chosen to be blind and be on that path when Jesus walked along so that Jesus could heal him, and everyone would praise this and praise God because of the healing. Well, my take on that is what Jesus was saying, it doesn't matter the why, okay? You can deal with what is, and you can look for the good in every so-called or seemingly negative experience. And because the man was born blind, there was the possibility that he could see. And I'm thinking that we're talking about seeing not only with physical eyes, but understanding in a new way. Himself, his own life, okay? And so her advice is when we become aware that we are feeling sorry for ourselves, quit that, okay? She says, stop complaining, do something different. I'm saying quit it, okay? Do something different. Focus on a different kind of thought. Our complaints and our sense of victimhood is not going to take us where we are wanting to go. And we are giving our personal power away to someone else or to some situation. She said, don't do this to yourself. Number 11, listen and speak from your heart. The best people, she said, are not afraid to speak from their heart. Sometimes what we need isn't someone who comes and puts everything right, or someone who has a quick fix for something, but sometimes what we need is a person who is willing to listen and to be patient and who speaks to us with kindness. Real personal power, she wrote, comes from putting a voice to our heart and soul. Whatever you do, make sure you're following your heart because it knows the best route to happiness. And then I'm going to add my 4. They're not on the slide, okay? But I want to add number 1, do what you love. Find a way to incorporate what you love doing in your day, somewhere, somehow. I hadn't been to a movie in Salina in quite a while, and I love going to movies, okay? But I'm always too busy lately. The Salina Chorale is in full swing, and there's concert attire, the 14 new people to attend to, and the board meetings and all of those things as we get ready for our December concert. And a friend called me, and we used to go to the movies together quite often, okay? And said, come on, okay? Come on, okay? And I thought, all right, sure, okay? It's kind of like Jesus saying when who was it? I think it was Judas, who was objecting to them wanting to use the oil that the woman was anointing him with to sell it and to support the poor. And Jesus said, the poor you're going to have with you always. And I always thought, Well, you know, that's kind of a strange thing to say, but he's right. And so what my friend is saying, you're going to be busy always. You're always going to have this stuff to do, okay? So come and take a break with me. And I said, okay, we'll do that, okay? And we went to see Angelina Jolie in Maleficent. Okay, number 2. I saw number 1. It was great. It was, you know, it was flashy and flying through the air with big wings and everything. Okay, good versus evil kind of theme, and the who you thought was evil was the good, and who you thought was the good turned out to be the evil. And at the end, things just kind of, well, I'm sorry. Okay. Go and see it anyway, because the color, okay, the scenery is magnificent, okay? It's big and bold. Okay. Number 2 of mine, learn to do a 1-moment meditation. Now, I handed out a card to you, and on one side is Martin, Borison's 1-minute meditation. It's very simple, and he developed this when he was asked to teach meditation to a group of managers. And everybody was complaining there wasn't any time, whatever, and he thought that they were inviting him to teach meditation. And when he came, it was in the conference room, and they had the suits on and everything, and they were worried about getting out of there to get to some things that they needed to do. And he said, well, what I was going to present is not going to work here, okay? I was envisioning, you know, like 20 minutes of you know, relax and that kind of thing. That's not going to work. So he came up with the 1-moment meditation idea. Very simple, and he taught it to them, and they did a meditation. He said it's hard to judge a moment, so he was using a minute, okay, of meditation with them, and just focusing on their breath. And when we move to our meditation, I have a video that I'm going to show of Borison teaching this moment meditation to us. It should be good. Then, let's see. My number 3 is find your funny. Okay? That means let your funny bone do its thing. Find cartoons, funny TV commercials, jokes. Have fun with them and share them with others. And even if a joke isn't funny, you can make people laugh and experience happiness just by them watching you try to deliver a joke. I know that from experience here. Okay? And I usually say, I didn't write it. Collect the ones that you enjoy, put them in a book. And I have a friend who does that. She clips out the comics from the newspaper that really means something to her, that cause her to laugh, bring a smile to her heart. And she puts them in a book, and then when that book is done, she passes it on to me, and I have fun chortling through, looking through the things that call to me. I've even used several of them here. But one that's I clipped, and it's above my computer, is a Lola comic. Now Lola she's a kind of frumpy grandmother type, okay, but she's got a sharp wit, okay. And Lola on this day is visiting a fortune teller, and she's been to this woman before. They're sitting there with a table. There's a big glass, what do you call that? Crystal ball. A big crystal ball there, and she says, "Hey, Lola, hey, it's been a long time." And Lola says, "Yeah." And Lola says, "Well, I've been looking for answers from a higher power." And the fortune teller says, you mean? And Lola says, "Yep, fortune cookies." We laugh. But in the latest edition of Unity magazine, I believe that there's a guy telling the story of finding a gem in a fortune cookie and working with that as a tool, as an expression of divine guidance in his life. So you might check it out, okay? Sometimes there's good stuff, funny stuff in fortune cookies. Anyway, have fun finding your funny. Number 4, denials and affirmation statements for happiness and joy. On the flip side of the card that you have is a denial affirmation statement that I found that I think is a beautiful one. here. And it's interesting because it begins with the affirmation. The denial is the last sentence of the affirmation. Usually, in my experience, you start with the denial. Let go of all that other stuff, okay, so that you can then be open to receive insight from the affirmation part. I am made in the spiritual image and likeness of God, filled with limitless divine potential. I have the power of spirit within and the ability to make a lasting difference in the world. I joyously demonstrate my spiritual wholeness throughout my day. The miracle of divine life now guides and directs my body, my mind, and spirit, and nothing keeps me from finding and living my joy. And so that's my addition to Ellie Summers' list. And in our meditation, as I mentioned, we're going to experience Martin Borson sharing with us about the one moment meditation. So I've got to go and cue that up.